In this lesson, we explore what truly determines our charisma. First, let's reflect on our previous attempts to make others like us. Some people try hard to be nice to others, but does it work? Often, the more we try to please others, the less effective it becomes. The more we try, the less they appreciate us, and we become increasingly passive. Some people think that if they become successful and wealthy, others will naturally like them. Is that true? At first glance, it seems logical. If I'm successful and wealthy, people will like me. Success and wealth might seem like factors that make others like you. But let's dig deeper, as we aim to elevate our thinking in this course. For example, let's say I wasn't well liked before because I was poor and had no status. So I started from scratch at 20, working extremely hard for 10 years, and eventually became wealthy and successful. After 10 years of hard work, I finally have money, status, luxury cars, villas, and factories. When someone introduces me as Tanner, who started from nothing and now has money, status, and success, you might feel impressed. It seems like success and wealth really can make people like me. Now let's look at a second scenario. You don't know me, and one day we meet at a party. I start bragging, "Guys, I'm not just anybody. You know, I used to be really insecure, but then I started from scratch, waking up at 5 a.m. every day, working hard for 10 years. Now I've got a factory. In fact, here's the property deed. This factory is worth over $5 million, employs hundreds of workers. I have a villa, two actually, one in the city, one in the suburbs. I have 3 luxury cars. Today I brought the Bentley, but I have even better ones at home. And this watch, have you seen it? It's a Patek Philippe Sky Moon, worth over $2 million. Impressive, right? Do you admire me?" How would you feel after this introduction? You'd probably find this person annoying, thinking, "What's so great about this? He's just a show-off." The admiration seems to vanish. At this point, everyone in this mindset course, let's take a moment to think. Does this make you realize something? Have you ever thought that just being rich would make others like you? Yes, I worked hard for 10 years and achieved these results. But when I introduced myself like this, instead of others liking me, they ended up disliking me even more. Isn't that worth some reflection? Do you still think that wealth and success are the key factors that determine whether people like you? The answer is that these are among the least important factors. What do I mean by the most important factor? It's the element that holds the highest weight in determining an outcome. For example, everyone likes gold, right? Now let's say you found a piece of gold that's been polished with perfume and engraved with flowers, and another piece that's covered in dirt and even dog poop. Does your mood change because of that? If today gold was being handed out at the square, and each person could take a kilogram, but you arrived late and got the dirty piece, would you feel miserable and dislike it? While someone else got a polished one and felt happy? Is that how it works? No, the gold itself is the deciding factor in whether you like it or not. What's on it isn't important. It has very little impact on how you feel. That's what we mean by a deciding factor. When it comes to whether others like me or not, whether I'm covered in success and wealth or poverty doesn't matter as much. What's crucial is who I am as a person. If you're gold, it doesn't matter what's on you. But if you're not gold, it doesn't matter what you're covered in. Just look, I have money and status now, but the way I present myself, whether I'm low-key or boastful, makes a big difference. These two ways of presenting myself lead to completely different outcomes regarding whether people like me or not. Do you still think wealth determines whether people like you? Friends, think about it this way. If I'm extremely low-key, very gentle and humble, in the first scenario, I'm wealthy, and when I'm with others, I don't show off. And one day people find out, wow, Tanner is actually pretty wealthy and successful. Won't they like me? Even if they didn't know I was wealthy, they'd still like me, right? Wealth just adds a little more to that liking. But if I'm low-key and humble and don't have much money, wouldn't people still like me? So being low-key or not is at the core. As long as you're low-key, everyone will like you. If you boast, nobody will like you. Whether you have money or not, everyone will like you if you're low-key. But if you're boastful, nobody will like you, as I mentioned before. So what ultimately determines whether people like you? Do you now feel like we've dug deep into the rabbit hole and found the most critical point? The most critical point is who you are as a person, not whether you have money. Think carefully about it. Wasn't it supposed to be that if I succeeded, people would like me? If I had money, people would like me? So how can a 1-minute self-introduction ruin 10 years of hard work? 1 minute of boasting erased 10 years of effort. Do you still think wealth plays a role? Friends, shouldn't we elevate our thinking? Before we learn this, how are we living our lives? Maybe we've been striving in the wrong direction. So, what really makes others like us? Can success and wealth make others like you? Actually, it can, but not directly. After I became successful and wealthy, it gave me confidence. This confidence made me calm and composed, and this calm confidence attracted others to me, giving me personal charisma. So what's the conclusion? It's strong self-confidence. This attitude of calmness brings charisma, which makes others like me. But if it's just about having money, we'd end up with the situation I described earlier. So money doesn't directly make people like you or bring charisma. But the confidence that comes from having money can lead to personal charisma, which in turn makes people like you. Let's go deeper. As I mentioned, after I became wealthy and successful, it brought me a certain level of confidence, which then brought personal charisma, making others like me. But is this confidence reliable? If I am indeed wealthy and confident, and many people like me, that's great. But what happens when I suddenly face a major challenge in life? This challenge is making the one person I care about the most like me, admire me, and respect me. This person we care deeply about could be a romantic partner, someone we are head over heels for, to the point where their presence lights up our entire world. When they leave, everything seems gray. We can't sleep at night. This is the person we care about and love. Or it could be our boss, our client, someone who has control over our destiny, and so on. These are all people we care deeply about. But when we encounter these people, does the confidence that comes from having money still work? I'm wealthy, my company is huge, but now I'm negotiating a big deal with the CEO of another company. I'm suddenly on edge and my confidence evaporates. I once had a student worth over $5 billion. He was extremely wealthy and successful, but one day he fell in love with a woman. This woman was quite ordinary, a college graduate working in a company. He fell for her instantly, but she didn't like him at all. He tried for a long time, but nothing worked. He lost all his confidence around her, becoming very nervous. During the Chinese New Year, he drove 3 cars and brought many gifts to visit her, but she wouldn't even open the door. This woman was from a rural village in Nanyang, Henan province. In the end, he had no choice. After 3 days of being shut out, he gave all the gifts to the villagers and left dejectedly. Isn't wealth supposed to make people like me? Why didn't it work? It seems like the more we care about someone, regardless of their status or wealth, the more we care, the harder it is to make them respect or like us. And the more we want them to like and respect us, the less likely it becomes. This is especially evident in romantic relationships. What's going on here? Didn't we just say that confidence brings charisma, which in turn makes people like us? We become successful, gain wealth, and that brings us confidence, which makes people like us because of our charisma. But why does this confidence sometimes fail to work? What's happening here?